Today is Wednesday, July the 1st, 2026. It's Canada Day. And I think it's appropriate that I'm filming this on today because this is a project that could impact all of Canada and will benefit all of Canada. The only thing holding it up is the local MPPs are, they're not doing what they need to do. I'm not going to go over that again. I'm just going to say, here's what you're holding up. And maybe if you see in more detail the business ideas, then you will do what you need to do. Okay, so I'm just going to do what I did with that reading email thing, and I'm just going to read through the slides and I'll edit it in later. So this presentation is called The City of Roses, a New Las Vegas, or How We Fix What Is Wrong with Men. Now, a few years ago, I realized there was a problem with my writing process because my ridiculous storylines kept coming true. And I learned that this is a known phenomenon. Stand-up comedians have this, where they get into the flow and sometimes they come up with ridiculous storylines that seem to come true. And I used this psychic ability to figure out how to fix what is wrong with my city. What I'm trying to do is build Esalen. I'll say that differently. Rather than me explain what Esalen is, just Google it. Go look at what Esalen is. This is what I'm trying to build in Windsor. It is a very serious and well-respected scientific institute that studies the human mind and consciousness. And that's what I'm trying to build here. Now, Esalen was founded by a guy named Michael Murphy. We aren't related. He wrote a book called The Future of the Human Body. When I read this in 1992, I thought it sounded cool and used it as the foundation of my fictional magic system in my novels. I'm very, very well aware of Michael Murphy's theories. And again, I'm trying to build an institute like his here in Windsor. Now, why? The reason we need a different institute is Esalen is in America. And there are many people, like myself, who no longer feel safe in America. There are many scientists that are trying to reveal technology that is no longer safe to reveal in America. And they need a place to do that. And again, that is what I'm trying to build here in Windsor. A human oracle. And we're going to use this as the foundation for a better AI. Artificial intelligence. There's a problem with it. And the problem with artificial intelligence is it's based on bad data. There's a very easy way to create a true artificial intelligence. And then we're going to use that artificial intelligence to create a city without crime. For real. The movie called Minority Report is not about racism. It is about future crime, a system in which psychics match with technology to predict crime and ensure it doesn't happen anymore. And whether you believe that or not, this is possible now. Once we create a better version of artificial intelligence and give that to the police stations, we can create a city without crime. The thing that is wrong with the world right now is men. Weak men are playing mind games on us. There's so much propaganda out there that men, say it differently, to say it as easily as possible, there are people in other countries that are playing with our media and it's influencing the way men think here. Men have become monsters and we need to fix that. The first thing we need to do is realize why it is happening. Okay, so there is something wrong with men. Why? It's because of jokers like Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon has been playing mind games and propaganda for years. We need to undo what he has done. Once upon a time, we had a thing called common sense, where everyone in a neighborhood thought the same way. We don't have that anymore. We all come from different backgrounds. We are all siloed in our houses and we're not talking to each other. We need to create a way for people to talk amongst themselves and recreate a common sense. We need to start with men. What we need to do right now is bring the men of this area together and have them create community. Women are already doing what they need to do, but men aren't. How do we fix that? Well, I used my psychic abilities and came up with a ridiculous idea. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense that it will work. Everyone thinks my documentaries are about racism. They are not. My documentaries are about how I realize I am psychic and why I am the right person to create this business. That's why it's called Unbelievable. Racism isn't unbelievable. It happens every day, people. I sent the idea around to many politicians and said, here's a way that we can create thousands of jobs. And all we have to do is say, oops, we made a mistake. Sorry, Joe, and move forward. Saying you're sorry is kind of a Canadian thing, but for some reason, Doug is not willing to apologize for racism. And because of that, I can't bring the investors here. Like, the reason they don't want to go to America is because of racism. So we need to prove that we are not racist here. And luckily, that's something that one question, Doug, what happened to Joe Murphy? Doug could then stand up and say, oh, I just found out about this case tomorrow. Here's what it will take. Someone has to whisper in Doug Ford's ear and say, hey, Doug, there's a way that we can make a lot of money. And all you have to do is say, oops, I'm sorry, we made a mistake. Sorry, Joe. If Doug can do that, you can just go on camera and say, I found out what happened to Joe Murphy. That was bad. I'm sorry, Joe. That's all that's holding it up. And again, saying you're sorry is kind of a really Canadian thing to do. It shouldn't take this much work for anyone to apologize for being racist. Hi, Merritt. My name is Joseph Murphy. In case you have forgotten who I am, here's a reminder. I've been in contact with you and other members of the NDP since at least 2023. Sorry. Okay. The thing that's holding it up is I need a public apology, and I need for the harassment to stop. Because it's next to impossible for me to convince investors to come here when the government is actively harassing me and limiting my freedom of speech. People, like, mistakes were made. Adults admit when they make mistakes. And saying you're sorry is kind of a Canadian thing. So if someone can please just whisper it in Doug Ford's ear and say, there is a way that we can make a lot of people a lot of money really quickly, and all you have to do is give one apology. And then we can move forward. This is what you were holding up. Rebuilding community. Here's what we need. We need a place somewhere in Canada where adults can go for very cheaply and feel safe and relax. Right now we don't have that. We go to Cuba, but it's not safe to go to Cuba anymore. We used to go to Mexico, not super safe there. Many of us vacationed in America, and for many people, they no longer feel safe going to America. We need to create a safe vacation spot in Canada that everyone can feel safe going to. Now, third spaces are in many countries. In China, which I've only been to China once, but it was cool watching people in squares doing exercises together. They have community. England has Speaker's Corner, Nashville in the States. Like, America has many third spaces, and Canada doesn't have any. Now, when I'm talking about the new Las Vegas, again, probably people are thinking about the Strip. That is next to impossible to recreate. Literally, it would take that Vegas. There's only one of those Vegases in the world, and you can't replicate that. But think smaller. I want you to think about Fremont Street. Our downtown can very quickly and easily be turned into something very much like Fremont Street. That is the idea behind the Rose City experience. Instead of the Fremont experience, it would be the Rose City experience. This would require a partnership, obviously, and there are ways to do it without a partnership very quickly, but it is better for marketing purposes and it is more profitable if we create a partnership with Las Vegas. The idea behind the City of Roses is to create a place where adults can vacation without their children. Adults used to go to Cuba, but right now Cuba is not a safe space to go on vacation and might not be for a long time. Many adults used to go to Mexico, and for various reasons that's not as safe as it used to be. Canadians need a place where they can go and vacation cheaply and safely. So we're going to create the playground for adults, and then we're going to ensure that all of Canada can benefit from it. Like, I know that Doug Ford is very focused on Toronto, but if you're in Toronto, you don't want to vacation in Toronto. You want to get away from Toronto. And a good chunk of Canada lives in Toronto, which means the vacation spot has to be somewhere else. We can connect Windsor to Toronto with a bullet train, and Mark Carney's been talking about this. You know, this is what we need to be doing moving forward. When we create the bullet train, it will ensure that all of Canada can benefit from a safe adult vacation spot. One way to fund it is Windsor Savings Bonds. My background is in accounting, finance, economics. This is funded. I can tell you how we do it, but I'm not giving more information until you guys do your part. For various reasons, this will not work in Niagara Falls. As I said, Niagara Falls is supposed to be family orientated. The falls are there. We need a spot where there is going to be adult entertainment. Children should not be around that. We also need a bigger market. By building in Windsor, you're allowing people from America to come visit as well. You increase your target market. There are many reasons why Windsor is the place to build, not Niagara Falls. I can tell you all the reasons. It's been thought through. This will work. People forget how Las Vegas started. Las Vegas started as a playground for actors. They wanted a place where they could go and just relax without the press bothering them all the time, and just, you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'm pretty good at predicting the future. Hollywood is going to be rebuilt. It's down right now, but it will be rebuilt. Stars are going to need a place where they can vacation again, and people just don't feel safe in America. We need to build it somewhere else. Now, the easiest way to attract artists is to provide them a safe home. If you provide artists with a safe home and just let them create, they will create. If you build it, they will come. This is Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. Used to play in Windsor all the time. In fact, many stars used to play in Windsor all the time. At one point, Windsor was Las Vegas North. We can recreate that very quickly and very easily. And all it will take is one difficult conversation. Why is Windsor called the City of Roses? If you ask, people will tell you they don't know. And that's a lie. The term roses used to be slang for sex worker. And Windsor has always been known as a city of sex workers. We just don't want to talk about that. Not talking about sex work keeps sex workers in danger. We need to have a difficult conversation and grow up. Now, I understand all the reasons this was changed. Back in the 1950s, the city was trying to create new jobs, and they needed to rebrand. We were known as Sin City, which meant that no one wanted to invest here. So to bring in investors, we rebranded, and we pretended that the City of Roses meant something different than what it really meant. It is time for us to rebrand again, and I am uniquely qualified to help with that. This is David Cassidy. He's someone that I have met. David is head of a church called the Church of Priapus. Do not Google it unless you are in a safe space. But David uses his church for good. And what David does is he helps his community. He builds his community. And all I kept thinking is, why aren't churches doing that? If a gay church can help build community, why aren't the Christian churches helping? There's a way I can help churches. That's part of the plan. I am very good at predicting the future, and you don't have to believe me. You just have to wait a little while. Because very soon, Pope Leo is going to talk about rebuilding. And we are supposed to be building a monastery here on the shores of Lake St. Clair, which is weird for this reason. Go watch Disclosure Day. In Disclosure Day, one of the settings is the monastery at St. Clair, which is the monastery I'm currently trying to build. It's part of the package. Some of you who are not Christian won't care about that, but you'll definitely care about this. If we want to create one of the greatest tourist destinations on the planet, we can create a red light district, an area where sex work is decriminalized. I promise you, if you do that, Windsor will very quickly become one of the greatest tourist destinations on the planet. That idea will only work if it is run by women, and there are agencies that have been working to decriminalize sex work for a long time. We need to move forward with that. There are many reasons we need to move forward with that I will not discuss in a public setting. But if we do this, I promise you the people will vacation here. For reasons that should be obvious now, we should not be building this in Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls has to stay a family-oriented destination. The new Las Vegas is for adults. How do we get artists to come here? If we want to attract artists to this area, we need to create a safe work environment, a safe city. We need to make sure this is the safest city on earth, a city where they will not be interfered with. And as you can see by now, artists in America, the entire entertainment industry, has had a lot of interference. And if we want to keep that interference out of our city, we need to create future crime. As I've said, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to help create a better version of artificial intelligence based on the real human experience. That's what the labyrinth is about. I will then use that artificial intelligence to help police create the safest city on earth. Minority Report is not about racism. Neither are my movies. The way that we get real artificial intelligence is full disclosure. Right now, large language models are based on publicly available information on the internet that is garbage. It's easy to corrupt that data. We need true, full disclosure on everything so that we can create a true version of artificial intelligence. This part is very sensitive, but this is the part that needs to be said. There are problems in the world right now. Child abuse is much more rampant than we believed. We need to stop that. We need to create a system in which people who have been abused can come forward and feel believed. Because right now that is not happening. I'm living proof of that. When something bad happened to me, I came forward and there was no support. That can't happen in a democracy. But it happens to women all the time. There's a problem with our community. We don't believe each other anymore. But there's a way to help rebuild what has been lost. The church is going to go through a reformation very soon. And as I said, Pope Leo will be talking about rebuilding. And when that happens, just remember this conversation. I know this is unbelievable. I know. But I'm just going to say it, and you can do with it what you will. It turns out that God actually is real, and that some people are able to hear a voice, which could be called the Divine Feminine or the Holy Ghost. I never believed that was a real thing, but I was wrong. And I will now be helping the church rebuild monasteries. I'm going to be going down in history books for the guy that helped the church in Canada start up monasteries again. It's a way to create non-market housing that is flexible. Right now we're building all of these retirement homes, which will be good for a number of years and then will be good for nothing because the population is changing. We need to build better for thinking out further. If you knew me at all as a person, you would understand why it took me a long time to believe that I was the person that was going to help the Catholic Church rebuild monasteries, because that's crazy talk. But it's the message I was given, so that's what I'm doing. The facility I'm trying to create is called the Labyrinth, modeled after Esalen. It will be focused primarily on fixing what is wrong with men, because there is something wrong with men. We need to fix that. I know how to fix that, for real. If we were able to just pick Esalen up from where it is right now, Big Sur, if we're able to just pick that up and bring it to Canada, that would be perfect. But we can just rebuild it. And I am really, seriously, the person that can help rebuild this. The only thing I'm waiting on is you. Seriously. The only thing I'm waiting on is for you guys to do what you need to do. Doug Ford is removing black workers from the civil service. He's not allowed to do that. We can see that it's happening. We have to stop it. All Doug will have to do is stand up and say, "Oops, sorry, Joe, this was bad. Let's fix it." And then the investors will come. I'm sorry. You have to do this. Otherwise, this can't be built here. No one is going to move. Say it differently. The people that would invest in the people that would invest in this facility will not come to Windsor with this level of corruption. We have to get rid of crime and corruption and create the safest city on earth. Do that, the artists will come. And again, maybe you don't believe me. I don't care. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to build this. And the only thing holding it up is you guys not doing what you're doing. Say it differently. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to create thousands of jobs in Windsor. I'm trying to build a facility that will help fix what is wrong with men. Again, creating thousands of jobs. And the only thing holding it up is you guys with your heads in the ground, pretending that it's not happening. We are adults. Adults admit when they make mistakes. We need to grow up. That's the whole thing. We need to fix what is wrong with our community. And that starts as soon as Doug Ford says, I'm sorry. So that's it. That's what I'm trying to build. That's what's being held up. Again, if you guys decide that you just don't want to move forward with this, I know this is a good idea. And if Ontario and Windsor doesn't want it, I will move it somewhere else. Shop around. It will work best in Windsor. And I just think it sucks for the people of Windsor. You're missing out on the opportunity of a generation because a few MPPs are refusing to be adults. Come on. Get Doug Ford to admit he made a mistake, apologize, and we can move forward. Please.